Hey guys, what's going on? Basically today, what my plans is I've been looking at this guy. He's a YouTuber. I'm giving all the credit to him. I'll leave a link to the video I'm about to watch, which is this one. Basically we're gonna be reacting to why you wouldn't survive Alcatraz prison. I'm just gonna see if I would, because honestly, I'm gonna see what I say and he says, and it's more gonna be in a disagreeing concept at this point. Basically, an agreement, disagreement. Anyways, I'll leave the link to his channel in this video and everything, so don't worry, YouTube, don't kill me, please. I'm giving him credit. Okay, either way, let's just get right into it. I have like really nothing else to do either way. Nobody's on. It is almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I am getting too tired for this.
It's August 11, 1934, and along with 136 prisoners, you're on your way to what will become known as America's toughest prison. You guys are what the authorities have called the incorrigibles, because in the prisons where you come from, you just couldn't stop causing trouble. All of you have been called violent and unpredictable, and so you're being taken to the penitentiary version of hell. You sit there on a specially designed train coach, handcuffed and surrounded by 60 FBI agents. U.S.
I just want to say, I feel like if I were to go to jail, it would be for something probably dumb, like probably arson. Like some of you would, arson is not really dumb. It's like burning down buildings and shit. But either way, basically, if you see something stupid, I don't know what it would be, but my dumb mind would somehow figure out a concept to, quite frankly, to come up with something stupid in order to do that.
Marshals and other security. The atmosphere is somber, and each of you grisly-looking hardened criminals each eye each other with distrust. Every chug of the train is foreboding. In your mind, it says to you, "You're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell." You're not wrong. That's how the first shipment of prisoners traveled to Alcatraz Island. None of those guys were prisoner number one, since Alcatraz had some leftover army prisoners. This place has been a military prison before it became a penitentiary renowned as being an inescapable hellhole. Let's just pretend you were one of these prisoners again. You arrive on that train at a place called Tiburon at 9:40 a.m. A bar just waiting in the water there. And that's how you'll get to the island located in San Francisco Bay. The train carriage where you've been sitting could perhaps go down as one of the most well-guarded trains in the history of rail. Imagine if some of the USA's most violent prisoners all got loose. Something akin to a movie about the Wild West. No one escapes this day. Many of the men around you are thinking,
How did this go from talking about Alcatraz to talking about the Wild West? Back when the Wild West was happening, you either wanted dead or alive. They could shoot you for fun if they wanted to.
killers, and others are notorious bank robbers. You can make a book out of your combined rap sheets. Each of these guys have been called an agitator, and the authorities have noted that the men are desperate. Most of them have planned prison escapes from other places, and it's well known that they will kill anyone who gets in the way of their freedom. For that reason, you'll be guarded by highly trained men. And when we say highly trained, we don't mean in rehabilitation. They are men that were chosen for their toughness, not their ability to help improve prisoners' behavior. The two men in charge, the warden and his assistant, have been nicknamed the Iron Men. When you finally get to the ferry ship that will take you to the island, you are handcuffed with another man, and both of you are shackled together. You're ordered to walk 10 feet forward across a gangplank, and then onto the ship. You're surrounded by law enforcement and prison guards. All this is happening without the press looking on, because the authorities have kept the operation a secret. Only one lone photographer got news of the move. At Alcatraz's dock, you and the guy you're chained to walk between rows of guards. 2 by 2, you're marched through the gate into the yard, and then into the cell house. You're searched and given a number, after which you're allocated a cell. Now your cuffs are...
The only thing I'm wondering is, I wonder if somebody has actually, you can actually pick handcuffs or whatever you call it. You can actually like remove, if you have like a hairpin or something, you can actually unlock the handcuffs if you know how to do it. I wonder if somebody's actually done that and just bolted it. That's what I'd try to do. I mean, it might give me a solitary confinement, but hey.
removed, and you are free of the other men. But before you can go into your cell, you're taken to the bathhouse and stripped naked. You're examined in every nook and cranny of your body, and then told you can wash. You're then taken to a cell, and the door is locked. Outside is a sign that has your name and number. The authorities will later say that the entire operation operation went perfectly. Okay, so what does your cell look like? You're assigned to Block B. You might move to C later. And Block A, you'll learn isn't used much at all to incarcerate men. D Block is solitary and is a segregation center where a prisoner can be locked up 24 hours a day. These cells are sometimes referred to as confinement chambers. You might get let out in the yard for an hour once a week if you get on the right side of the guards. But other than that, you face it.
Holy shit, once a week? Once a fucking week? Holy shit. I didn't know it was like that.
Total isolation percent. So your cell in Block B is 5 feet by 9. Proverbially speaking, if you were to swing a cat in there, you'd kill it. Inside that cell is a cot that you can sleep on and is made out of steel. It folds against the wall without being used because there really isn't that much space in the cell. There's a steel shelf to sit on and a steel shelf to put things on. There's also a basin and a toilet. Everything you own when you first get into that cell is a toothbrush, some tooth powder, 2 towels, and a cup. There will be books to read, so you can fill that shelf at some point. You will be able to get visits if you're good, but only once a month and non-contact. If you fall sick, then there's a hospital in the prison. Over the coming year, some big names will arrive at the prison, including a man known as George Machine Gun Kelly. Others that arrive have been convicted of what the press called
George Machine Gun Kelly. Anybody else thinking of what I am?
most atrocious crimes. Alcatraz is called the end of the line, the last resort. It holds formidable robbers and ruthless murderers, and it especially holds anyone who has tried to escape from another prison, or a prisoner that has hurt or killed a prison guard where he was housed. Maybe the most famous criminals to stay on the rock is the mafia crime lord Al Capone. He actually arrived shortly after you. So there you are, sitting in your cell. You receive a booklet, and it's called Regulations for Inmates USP Alcatraz. It tells you that what you have right now is what you're entitled to. Clothes on your back, the roof over your head, and some bathroom items. Anything else you might receive as a privilege. And to get more things, you'll have to show good conduct and a good work ethic. You might even get some time taken off your sentence. But show bad conduct and the opposite might happen. You might lose privileges, get some time added on, or be sent to the isolation cells. This is nothing you haven't read before. In bold letters, the booklet tells you that there will be no trading, gambling, selling, giving, or loaning. They mean this too. You will work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. The rest of the time will be recreation time and cell time. You can watch a movie twice a month, and if you show good conduct, you'll be able to go out to the yard and play handball. You're also told that this won't happen just yet, since your first 30 days will be spent in your cell. This is called the quarantine period. It doesn't sound too bad, only you guess the guards will be stricter. That is very true. You'll wake up at 7 a.m. and you'll be counted. You must be absolutely silent during this time or you'll be disciplined. This rule of silence will be the thing that gets to you the most, and the guards are serious about it. You might have your own cell, but the silence kills you. You can try talking through the toilet bowl, but that will get you in serious trouble. You can talk when you eat with the other prisoners. The food, at least, isn't that bad. In fact, you're quite impressed with the check. For breakfast one day, you get oatmeal, milk, sausage, fried potatoes, toast, and coffee. For dinner, you get some bean soup, roast beef, or veg. For your supper, you get pork and beans, salad, cold coffee, and bread. On another day, the breakfast is similar, but dinner consists of breaded cod, potato chowder, cabbage, bread, and tea. For supper one evening, you get vegetable soup, spaghetti, and meatballs, good pudding and bread. They even
Sorry, I grabbed a drink.
throw in some spiced apples. What's going on? You eat better than you did on the outside, and a lot better than the many Americans living in abject poverty. In the years to come, the delicious food.
That's what I don't get. For people that are actually homeless, excuse me, people that are actually homeless, if you actually do think about it, if you were to rob a store and you're homeless, like you have nothing, you get sent to jail or sent to prison. So technically, if you do get sent to jail for being homeless, well, when you're homeless, when you get sent to jail, are you technically homeless? Because I'm trying to figure that out. Because like, if you think about it, you get free food, you get free shelter, and yeah, you lose all your privacy, and it gets put on your record. But that's about it. Like basically, you just become no longer homeless.
Alcatraz will become legendary. It will make any prisoner in the present day wish he was taken back in time, as he chows down on a single slice of moldy bread and dubious slop filled with mystery meat and gristle. At Alcatraz, the wardens believe that healthy food and tasty food Okay, so you got your pounded beef steak with gravy to match, and you're not going to complain about that. The silence thing gets to you, but as you follow all the rules, you at least get time on the yard and books to read. It's a bit cramped in the cell, but at least you don't have to share with a man who has a history of atrocious violence. What can go wrong? Well, that routine is so strict that it can feel oppressive. It's final lockup at 4:50 p.m. and lights out at 9:30 p.m. And until the next day, you're not supposed to make a sound. A man named Edward Lutke doesn't take Alcatraz very well. He's prisoner number 47, and he's the first man to take his life. More will follow. There is bullying, of course, and this leads one man to severely hurt himself. He wants to get transferred because of the bullying he faces daily. So for you, as long as you don't get bullied, life could be okay. You just have to adhere to the strictest of routines. You even get to go to the library, and since you're eating well and exercising, you might actually get rehabilitated. In fact, as an average prisoner, you'll get to go through almost 100 books a year. As the years go by, you'll get the chance to use a musical instrument and listen to a radio. The problem is, what if you don't follow the rules? Well, that's when Alcatraz turns into Hell-Catraz. Let's just add that it's very easy to break the rules. That code of silence is enforced with enthusiasm, and you also have to look presentable at all times. Your cell has to be spotless, and come rain or shine, you have to work really hard. There's no shirking in Alcatraz, and so you might say it's run in a zero-tolerance style. Now, with that in mind, the place is full of notorious criminals with problems of self-control. Things can go wrong. Let's say one day you just can no longer go.
I like. Let me back that up. Watch. I like how this guy just comes in for the jumping. Like this guy's just doing nothing. He just comes in for the jumping. He just started. It's just the way it was animated. It just looks like he's just beating the shit out of the guy on the ground.
You just can no longer cope with the oppressive rules, and you start talking at night to not kill yourself. You go into isolation, and then you do the same again. You hit out at people and talk back to guards. That's when you go to deep lock and get put in one of the cells from 9 to 14. This is known as the hole, and before you get thrown in there, you're stripped naked and beaten. The guards will come back and torture you now and again. You lie on a cold concrete floor, and there's no light that comes into the cell. You can shower once a week, and you might get out in the yard for an hour. The rest of the time is spent in that cold, dark cell, being treated worse than an enemy. You're given no toothbrush or soap to clean yourself. At one point, the guard throws cold water on you. The cell stinks like a sewer, too, and you can forget about that tasty food. You're given 4 slices of bread a day, and then once a week you get a proper meal. In conclusion, Alcatraz is a foreboding place just to look at, and it comes with ruthless men who might bully and kill you. The food is good, but some men just can't cope with the rules. This is what one of your fellow inmates says about that. Men go slowly insane under the exquisite torture of restricted and undeviating routine. Men crack, and then they're punished, sometimes severely, and this happens a lot. The question is, will you crack, or will you get through it? Maybe you could have survived Alcatraz, but now we have another challenge for you, and that's the good one.
So pretty much, just pull common sense. So basically, if you do get sent to Alcatraz, just be good, I guess. That's pretty much what this guy's saying. I mean, I kind of do agree with him at the same point, but you also gotta think, you actually kind of want to join a gang. It's because you don't join a gang, then you're gonna have a higher chance of getting jumped. Especially what I've heard from robberies and shit, like people will take your shit. We're doing one more. So let's do that one. Suicide Squad. We do Suicide Squad. Oh, I don't, Mr. Beast. I don't care. Sorry, Mr. Beast.
You'll know all about what happened on April 25th, 1986, and how it shook the world. What you might not know is that it could have been much, much worse had it not been for the extremely brave people we're going to talk about today. But first, let's see what happened on that fateful day. Prior to that disaster, there were around 14,000 people living in this Ukrainian city of Chernobyl, which is located around 90 kilometers northeast of the capital.
Oh, I've heard about this. The nuclear plant exploded.
What happened back in the 80s was basically an explosion of one of the reactors at the nuclear plant. It sent around around 50 people died as a direct result of the explosion, but the World Health Organization tells us that around 4,000 people died as an indirect result of the Big Bang. We are further told that thousands of people were exposed to high levels of radiation, but millions more were exposed to lower levels of radiation. The full extent of the damage is difficult to say, but the WHO says some people who were exposed to this radiation have a higher risk of getting cancer in their lifetime. How did it happen? We'll answer that first, and then get around to the question of what could have happened if it weren't for our exceptionally valiant trio of heroes, sometimes called the Suicide Squad. We could basically say human error, but as with many disasters, there is what you might call a perfect storm of things that went wrong. We'll summarize here, as we've done a show on this already. The World Nuclear Association explains that workers at Chernobyl Reactor 4 were doing tests, and to cut a long story short, the power of the reactor plummeted, and so workers tried to increase the power. Then there was a power surge, and all hell was about to break loose. There was a lot of steam, and a huge amount of pressure was building up inside one of the reactors. This eventually blew off the 1,000-ton lid on the reactor, causing radiation to leak while air got into the reactor, which caused a fire, a very big fire. A second explosion ensued when hydrogen was formed by hot water steam attacking zirconium. This was even bigger than the first explosion. Now there was fires breaking out, dust so thick it was hard to see, an electricity blackout, and no working phone lines. It was mayhem. Firefighters did arrive though, but they weren't aware of all that dangerous radiation in the air. Even after they did manage to contain the blaze, the workers as well as the residents of the town did not know what kind of danger they were in. It took hours to totally put that raging fire out, but nothing could stop the spread of radiation that was now trapped.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure something out. Okay. You would think, if you live in the area, you would think, well, you would know, at least, that there is a nuclear power plant near. Especially you being a firefighter. If you get a call that a nuclear plant is on fire, and you don't expect there to be radiation, that's like walking into Hiroshima after it was bombed. It just makes no sense.
Traveling far and wide. As we said, some people still live in parts of town today, but not in the areas that were hit most by the radiation. You can even take a tour of the town that was, and it is supposed to be a similar experience as people just up and left, leaving many of their things behind them. It's now said that wild animals have come from nearby forests, and they're the liquid habits of the town. Okay, so what could have happened? In the book Chernobyl 12340, the incredible true story of the world's worst nuclear disaster, we're told that under the reactor was a massive pool of water, which was there to act as a cooler. What the workers knew, some of them, was that they couldn't allow all the hot radioactive metal to reach that pool of water. The author of this book said in an interview, if that happened, it would have triggered a second steam explosion that would have done unimaginable damage and destroyed the entire power station, including the 3 other reactors. He goes as far as to say that such a blast could have denuded Europe of about half of its citizens. It would have left part of the continent uninhabitable for many thousands of years due to radiation. He's not alone either in saying that. A former Soviet physicist called Vasily Nestorenko said this: our experts studied the possibility that the explosion would have had a force of 3 to 5 megatons. Minsk, which is 320 kilometers from Chernobyl, would have been razed and Europe rendered uninhabitable. This is where the Suicide Squad comes in. These guys knew that they had to drain the pool, but there was a problem.
Do you think Suicide Squad was actually like government, or governmental people, or do you think they're just a bunch of crackheads that just got bored? Like, you know what we should do? We should just put on a bunch of gas masks and run around a nuclear power plant and try to be superheroes. Because at this point, like, I don't know anymore. You know how people are nowadays. It's people just do random stuff. I do random stuff, and I'm just that crazy. I hate ads. YouTube, why does... I mean, I get YouTube has, like, ads. Like, I get they have ads to make money and everything, but it's always the worst timing.
Ultimately dying a really horrible death. This, we might say, is not so much Hollywood, but grim European realism. It might actually work in Russian cinema, but such a movie would be way too depressing to attract Hollywood financiers. This was the story that circulated for a long time, but the author of the book we just mentioned said he spent 5 years researching the disaster and found out that the house worked a little differently. The basement entry, while dangerous, wasn't quite as dramatic as modern myth would have been believed, he said in an interview. He said that firefighters had tried to drain the pool before these 3 guys, plant workers, and no soldiers came to the scene. He said many people tried to empty that pool, and we don't know what happened. He also said that it's true that the basement was full.
So was Suicide Squad plant workers? Are they plant workers, or are they just pedestrians on marijuana or something? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever they're on, I'm on it.
Flooded, it was hard to find the valves, but he said the water was only waste time. Still, radiation was everywhere, and the men, Alexei Anenko, Valery Vespalov, and Boris Baranov, were at risk as they waited around in search of those valves. It was like finding a needle in a haystack, said the writer, adding that this place was a massive network of valves and pipes, and finding the right one seemed impossible to lose men. But they found the right valves in the end. When the searchlight beam fell on the pipe, they were joyous. One of the men later said in an interview with the Soviet media, the pipe led to the valves, he added, and it was a job well done. They then turned the valves and they heard the rush of water being emptied from the tank. It said that there was about 5 million gallons of water, which is well over 18 million liters. Then it did get a bit Hollywood, we're told, as when the men got back to the rest of the people waiting for them to finish their mission, there was a lot of hooting and hugs. But what about the slow, painful death from ARS? Well, we're told that that didn't happen the way it is sometimes been described. It's said one of those guys died some years later from a heart attack, but the others survived. The author of the book said he knew one of them was still working in the same industry, and the other he knew was certainly alive up until 2015 at least. He kind of lost a man after that year. People did die of ARS after the disaster, but not those 3 men, according to him. He said it is quite hard to get to the heart of the matter, as after the event, the Soviet Union tried to downplay the incident, and all the most accurate information has still not been translated from Russian. He did say, though, that these 3...
Well, if you do think about it, if they are walking around that plant with gas masks, like, and that in the oxygen tank, you're not really breathing in radiation. You're breathing in actually oxygen, because there's gas masks, they filter air. Well, oxygen, basically, they're made for a nuclear blast or a nuclear bomb. With a oxygen tank, it's just pure oxygen. There's oxygen in that tank to get delivered to your lungs. It's clean oxygen because it's made for scuba diving. I mean, it makes sense how the 3 guys survived, because everybody else, if radiation spreads out throughout the air, nobody else has a gas mask. Definitely civilians. It's just going to basically, it's going to get more civilians than it will anybody else, especially the people that don't really have gas masks. Like I said, it's just...
3 guys likely prevented a bigger disaster happening and could have killed millions of people. In an interview, he said they still went to the pitch black, badly damaged basement beneath the molten reactor that was slowly burning its way down the middle. We might also say that many people risked their lives during this disaster and during the long cleanup afterwards. These folks are sometimes called the liquidators, and they number in the thousands. According to something called the Chernobyl Union, 25,000 of the Russian liquidators are dead and 70,000 disabled. About the same in Ukraine, and 10,000 dead in Belarus, and 25,000 disabled. We might add, though, that the number of people said to have gotten sick or died because of exposure to large amounts of radiation is a very controversial topic, and many reporters...
Once again, wear a gas mask or a oxygen tank. Anything that can provide you with clean oxygen that is going to basically go inside your body, because you're actually, when you inhale air, you're breathing oxygen. When you breathe out, you're breathing out carbon dioxide. That's pretty much what the gas mask does. It just filters the carbon dioxide into oxygen. But you also got to think, Why the hell are you not walking around with a damn gas mask when a nuclear power plant just fucking explodes? It's common sense, people.
Or it's different. Studies have also shown that the millions of people exposed to smaller amounts of radiation should not be at a higher risk of cancer, except perhaps thyroid cancer. We can say with assurance, though, that a lot of brave people put their lives at risk. In an interview, one of the liquidators said he knew the risks, but he just had to do his job. I'm worried for the future, he said. I get my blood checked twice a month. I go through the scanners 4 times a day. But the pay is good, and someone has to do this. We're told that the areas most exposed to large amounts of radiation won't be safe to live for 20,000 years. What do you think about this story? Would you have gone down there to find those files? Tell us in the comments.
Alright guys, I think I'm going to end this here. I'll let you leave both links for both videos in the description if you guys want to check them out for yourself, and I'll also leave this guy's channel in the description as well.
It's August 11th.
So far I actually like it. Not even gonna lie to you. I mean, a lot of historical facts in here. I'm rolling into history, to be honest with you. So basically, it seems like a lot of historical stuff, and so like Predator, Jigsaw. This is more what would you have done type stuff. Either way, I will talk to you guys later, and see you.